Welcome back. Well, let's get to what to expect now for the stock market today. We have joining us, we have Mukhtar Mohammed. He's the CEO, Finance with Mukhtar. Great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Ladi. Always a pleasure. Good morning.
Yeah, so we have the Q3 data as GDP data showing growth at this point. Is that bullish for the stock market?
Well, if you look at that GDP data where it's bullish, then you look at you could say it's bullish, but again, it's not turning bullish because of some issues, macroeconomic issues. That data was largely driven by the service sector, and if you look at the service sector, it is where you have the lack of the communication companies, agricultural companies, and the oil and gas companies that are listed, and the financial companies. So for the financial companies, they have been bullish. For the oil and gas, you also know they have been bullish. But for the agricultural sector, also you could say the bullish if you look at Okomo and Prisco. But for the others, service sector like the telecommunication sector, you look at MTN, you look at Airtel Africa, you can't say that of them. So definitely, yes, it could be bullish based on the sector, but which stock we are playing with at the moment, because like I said, the communication sector is having its own challenges that have to do with FX, which FX devaluation, and most of them that depend so much on imported goods. So definitely is bullish with the financial sector, is bullish with the agricultural sector, is also bullish with the oil and gas sector. But for the communication sector, macroeconomic indices is not making it look bullish.
Right, and from last week into Monday, we saw the banking counter. We've seen sell pressure for the banking counter. Do you think this might change that? Now seeing that the services sector is really good, especially for financial services.
I think you are seeing that pressure on the banking sector based on the MPC report. MPC communique that we're expecting today, because a lot of people expect to be a hike in MPC, and that if you look at this result from the banking sector, the third quarter result, you realize that this hike also is going to have a very negative impact on them, especially with the non-performing loans. So definitely investors are beginning to take a look at that. So that is what I think is driving that negativity in that sector. But I think in the long run, what we've seen is the high comes and it goes. For the past month, we've been seeing those high, and the banking sector have still been very resilient. So we expect that to happen. But like you've rightly seen, there's a pullback, especially in some equities. Mostly the tier 1 bank, and especially Access Bank, you've seen that pullback into bringing it to a low of almost 22 naira compared to a high of about 24 about during the week. So we'll continue to see those pullback, but again, that it depends. Some investors are seen as a good entry point because the banks are still very, very liquid, and we expect that liquidity to flow in terms of dividend payout to investors, which will take care of what they suffer in terms of capital depreciation that may happen, but the liquidity is still high. And again, the third quarter result from this banking sector is still fantastic. So it could be a good entry point for some investors.
Right. So normally we should have possibility of 3 outcomes for the rate decision, but some say we should take a cut out of the picture. So we're looking at maybe a hike or a hold. So for both scenarios, do you see the market reacting, or it's already priced in?
It's already priced in, Ladi. We've been pricing it in and in and in. I think the only time we didn't price it in was the last MPC meeting, which people were bullish about. There will be a cut in rate, and they surprised us with the hiking rate. So we are used to the hiking rate. So it's already pricing. Like I said, it's already pricing. It depends on which sector that you are. If you're in the banking sector, like I said, high liquidity will help you cover up for what you suffer. High liquidity and good dividend payout will help you cover up for what you suffer in terms of depreciation. If you're in the communication sector, you have to wait longer. If you're in the manufacturing sector, you also have to wait longer. If you're in the financial sector, like I said, then you should be bullish. And if you are playing in the agricultural sector, you also should be bullish because you've seen about 23% growth. So definitely the hiking rate has played its role. You see that again, if that comes out, we'll see those that will suffer. And those that normally suffer are the conglomerate, the manufacturing stocks, the consumer goods stocks, and also the communication stock. We see the banking suffer a little, but we normally see a recovery in the long run for the banking sector.
All right, we also have bullish news this morning. Harcourt Refinery commencing crude oil processing today, and trucks are loading at this point. How are you seeing this, and how will it impact the oil and gas counter on the NGX?
It would have impacted it positively if we have NNPC listed in the exchange today, so it would have gone on the full beat. So hopefully we get NNPC listed next year as they have promised us with them and Dangote. But when you look at that, who is going to really benefit from it is the marketing arm of those companies that are listed, and you're already seeing that they're already benefiting, like stocks like Total. But for Wando and Arada and also Seplat, maybe Eternal Oil also will benefit from it. But for Wando, Arada and Seplat, what will definitely be good news is when we see those up in terms of crude oil productions from those entities. But for now, I think the marketing companies that are listed in the exchange that could see a little bit of possibility, like I said, Eternal Oil and also those that are in the downstream sector, the Eternal Oil and also Total. But for the upstream sector, we will have most the marketing companies like Owando, Arada, and Seplat. We might not see so much of this news benefiting them. But again, like I said, if we have NNPC listed today, that could have been good news.
Right, and definitely, I'm wondering if it came as a surprise, to you, hearing that the Port Harcourt Refinery is coming.
Larry, is a big surprise. Is what we've always been waiting for. The MD have said it over and over again. At a point, he said, "This time I'm not lying." So finally, NNPC is lifting in Port Harcourt Refinery. And the good news about it is what we've always craved for. We create competition rather than monopoly, whereby you could only live from Dangote Refinery. So what we'll see now, hopefully we should see that drive down price in the short and long term. Now it won't be a challenge, but we have challenge now, and that challenge might come to if they will be able to meet up with the demand, because again, that will slow down their supply of crude oil to Dangote, and that might even some Dangote now thinking of importing crude oil for refining. So that will create that competition that we always wanted, and once that competition comes, then the price will come down. And you and I know that once price in terms of the crude comes down, the people are the ones to benefit, because the economy is a petrol economy. When we see that price begin to come down, then definitely we'll see inflation come down in the long term, not immediately. And you see a lot of activities open around that space. For me, very fantastic news. We have 2 refineries working in Nigeria, Dangote Refinery and Port Harcourt Refinery. That means we will no more put so much pressure on our efforts in terms of importing refined petroleum products. That could also be a game changer. That could see exchange rate also come down, because if you say it's 40% of the pressure on the exchange rate is largely driven by demand by petroleum marketers for importation of refined petroleum products, and this is largely controlled by NNPC, who have been the larger importer of refined petroleum products, and now they won't be importing again. For me, Ladi, fantastic news for Nigeria. But let's watch and see whether that will drive down price. Yeah,
great news. But I'm sure Nigerians just want to know, when I go to the pump price, even you and I, are we going to buy at an affordable rate? Because we know the pain when we go to the pump.
What is being like, we will start seeing more queue in the NNPC filling station if they decide to sell it cheaper than all other filling stations. And that could also help Dangote begin to think of crashing his own. And then we could just see the game changer that we always look forward to in terms of...
would it be some kind of price? Would it be a price war?
That's what will benefit us. I tell you, if it comes a price war, when the 2 elephants fight, they say the grass suffer. This time, when the 2 elephants fight, the grass will not suffer, rather the grass will have options.
All right, I guess it's time for the grass to enjoy at this point and get greener. Well, thank you so much. was great having your perspective. Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO, Finance with Mukhtar. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Ladi. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so trading is on right now, and definitely we'll give you a coverage of the MPC decision. That's the last one for 2024. Would it be a hike or a hold? We'll find out at 1 p.m. I will have my guests here to analyze the expectation and what's before this Monetary Policy Committee. Thank you for watching. That's it from me on Business Morning. I hand things over now to the Sunrise Daily team.